Hello and welcome to, I'm going to say, podcast episode number 4. First one being Dave, second one being Brian, third one being Andrea. And now I'm sat with John Bastian.
Well, hello, sir.
Hello, young man. How are you today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Excellent. You've had a lot of roles across your journey with YFC.
A few, yeah.
What do you do at the moment?
So at the moment, I am, the title is CFO and COO. So I oversee kind of the finances and the operations of the international office. So make sure that everything here is running smoothly so that our folks on the ground, they're doing ministry, are getting their money on time, getting the right amount of money, and that we're being good stewards with the money and it's going where it's supposed to go.
Excellent. I mean, you say it in one sentence, and I'm sure it's a lot more challenging than that. So, I mean, in finance, in that kind of, because I want to talk about some of the other stuff you do in a bit, but what's the tricky bit about finance? What is it that people don't know that actually causes you the most stress?
The tricky part of finance with our international family is probably just all the different places and ways that we send money. Trying to get it, it's one thing to get into other currencies, but we have different registrations and names of accounts, and in some places they may not be too keen on what we're doing, and so we have to find some creative ways to get money to different places for what we believe God's called us to.
Yeah.
So that can create some interesting scenarios of getting those funds out the door.
Yeah.
But we've got different ways to do that. We've got ways to double check that it gets to where it's supposed to and that it's being used the right way.
And I suppose one of the ways that I say double check, but we don't double check through this way, is you get to travel. You get to go to some amazing places.
For sure.
So how does that work? How come you can travel? What is it you do when you travel?
Yeah, there's a couple things. So, anyone that's worked with Youth for Christ knows that our YFC family around the world is extremely relational. And really the way that we operate as a movement is through relationships.
Yeah.
If those folks on the field don't know what we're doing here, we don't know each other on a personal basis to have that trust, then we can run into some issues. So part of my role in travel is just to get to know some of our leaders around the globe so that they know who we are. They know us, we know them, and that's a key part of it, is building those relationships. Some of the travel is to see specific projects. So maybe there's larger projects that we've done where we've sent larger amounts of funds, and we just want to make sure that the building or the vehicle or whatever it is, the youth center that we send money for is actually exists. And there's youth in it. So some of it is to check on that. But a lot of the travel is when our family is gathering, whether that's a area gathering or regional gathering. When they're coming together, then I can see a number of folks at once and kind of check in with everybody.
Because that's the thing, that we are a relational organization.
Yeah.
And I think it's certainly one of the things I've noticed the most is that if we're just an email, if we're just a face on a web page, it's harder to get good responses and build a relationship. Mm-hmm. But once you've turned up, once you're actually a human that's been and they've managed to kind of get you to eat some of the awkward and embarrassing foods that they only give to tourists, it really changes the dynamics of just the way that we are a family, a YFC family.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what I would say is it builds trust. And when you're working in this and you're working with finances or you're working with getting reporting back and those kind of things, to have that trust just helps everyone out in our effectiveness. So that way, when I'm sending emails, they know who it is. I tend to get answers a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And they know why I'm asking the questions. It's not that I'm second guessing them, but just needing to know what's happening so we can relay that back to our partners. So I would say a lot of that is that trust piece.
Absolutely. The question that I always get asked, and I know that you get asked, people say, oh, where's your favorite place to go? Who are the best people? And all things like that. So I'm going to avoid all of that conversation. Okay.
All right.
But I am going to ask food-wise. So what is not the worst food? Because I don't think there are any bad foods. It's just your perception of what flavor is. But where have you been that you've had something that surprised you, where you've looked at it and just thought, but then you've eaten it, or you've drunk it and gone, that's amazing.
Okay, that's amazing. Let's think here. I mean, what comes to mind right away is the Mediterranean food, and Lebanon is one that comes to mind. I've never gone hungry in Lebanon. They barely allow you to have a break between meals.
Absolutely.
And am always overfed, but very good food. So I've had Mediterranean before, or what I thought was Mediterranean. And then actually to be there and have Lebanese food was pretty incredible, and definitely some unique flavors and different things that I'd never tried before. So I'd say that's one of them.
Excellent. I mean, because that's the thing, it's the hospitality. And I was at a school talking this morning, and they're like, where's your favorite place to go? What's your favorite food? And I can tell you my favorite at the moment.
Right.
But I've never felt unsafe anywhere. I've never been hungry anywhere.
Right.
Well fed, well looked after. So it becomes a real tricky one. But
yeah. No, I've had some amazing experiences. Some of my early trips and travel were to East Africa, and just the hospitality, again, that you see in places like Kenya and Rwanda and Burundi and just Uganda. Just amazing how they treat you, and again, always wanting to feed you, make sure you've had enough. And I've seen that all over the place.
And we've got a major conference coming up later on in the year.
Yeah.
Where an opportunity for all of these people that we interact with to come together under one roof. Are you excited?
Oh, for sure. I mean, with Youth for Christ, what we talked about with the relationships and being together, that's a huge part of what we are.
Yeah.
And to have not been together, we're coming up on 6 years since our last General Assembly.
Wow.
It's tough. I mean, it's hard to believe it's been that long, but obviously we've all been through this COVID thing, and we're excited, though, that we can be back together later this year. I think there's going to be high demand and a lot of people there, and really excited that we can get together outside of Amsterdam in the Netherlands.
Yep.
And I think we're going to have an amazing time together.
So how many people are we expecting?
It depends on who you ask. So, I typically would be your more conservative one, because I'm working on the budget and the numbers, and I got to make sure it all works.
Yep.
And our events typically are between 250 and 400 people. But I would say that there is a lot of pent-up demand, and there's also a lot of young leaders that are really excited to come and join us. So it's not going to surprise me if we're actually in the 400 to 500 range. So that's kind of what I'm thinking in my head, and we'll see here. We're going to open registration hopefully in a few weeks, and we'll start seeing what the early demand is, and that'll kind of help us to know what is it we're expecting, and are we prepared? Yeah.
Did I hear a rumor about an overflow in a cruise ship?
You did hear that rumor, and that is a rumor. There is no cruise ship.
I know that it was a joke.
Yeah, there's some. We do have a main hotel, which will hold roughly 500, 550 of us. If we actually looks like we're going to exceed that number, then there are a couple other hotels really within walking distance that we can get some other folks at. So we have the possibility to take over 500 people, and we'll just kind of see how this goes.
Excellent. And it's going to be both an in-person, online. So, I mean, there's just going to be no excuse for not attending.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't, so we're working on obviously the in-person like we've done before. And we're going to do a little bit of a new thing where we have...
I'm interested in that.
Yeah, we have this online presence. I wonder if you could talk about... Actually, Martin, could you tell me just a little bit about what you're thinking on that? A little teaser?
It's really interesting little teaser. Yeah, we're gonna create a parallel possibly live streaming experience, predominantly pre-recorded, to give a flavor of what actually happens at GA. Really, it's for those who can't make it. Yeah. Like you say, there's going to be a lot of people coming. There's a lot of demand. But there's also a lot of people hit hard by COVID that just can't afford to, or are just not sure. So you want to give them the best online GA experience, so they go, do you know what? I'm going to make sure I'm there in 3 years' time.
There you go.
Because there's no international pandemics that are going to be impacting us between now and then. And we're putting together a team. So, yeah, we're really excited.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Going to do a whole podcast just on that.
Okay.
So I'm excited. Yeah.
All right.
I was trying to trick you into telling me all about it with me pretending that I didn't know anything about it. So you did a good job there. You flipped it back. All right, drawing to a close. What haven't I asked you that I should have asked you?
Let's see here. Probably like what's the stuff you do that people don't know that you do? But now I have to think of my answer. So
okay. So John.
Yeah.
So what is it do you do that people actually know? What is your secret skill?
Secret skill.
Let's go with your secret skill.
Well, secret skill has become a little bit less of a secret, but I can make a pretty good latte.
Okay.
At the office.
You can.
Yeah.
Vanilla?
So
no, not vanilla. What was it?
Yeah, I can do vanilla if you like. I can do a mocha. Yeah. So that's my secret skill that, if this doesn't pan out, I can hopefully go get a role as a barista somewhere.
So the thing is, you visit all these nations. They give you this amazing food, national experience and things like that. And you're saying, hey, come and visit me in the international office and I'll make you an exceptional latte.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's quite a good deal, to be fair.
For sure.
For sure. Well, John, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day. It's been fun talking to you. And everybody watching online and listening, thank you for joining. And look out for the next edition of the podcast that explores who on earth are the people inside the international office and what do they actually do? What do you do, John? He doesn't know. All right. Cheers and goodbye.